So we blew up the engine Saturday night. It is now Monday. We're going to open this hood up here. And we're going to see if we can figure out what went wrong. Crack this open here. So the idea is we're going to take off the intake. We're going to test the injectors. I want to see if maybe we got an injector that went bad and was maybe only flowing half of what it should have been or something, or maybe we got a bad ignition piece. Don't know, but after doing some more thinking about it, I got realizing that the conditions it was rattling, and it was kind of giving me a rattle, knock, whatever you want to call it. But it was at only when I got into boost in like third and fourth gear, and it was at low boost, like 140 kPa, which is, I don't even know, about 7 pounds, something roughly. And then I backed out of it. But that was the same kind of conditions that I was doing when I was setting up the boost controller. So your electronic boost, or MAC valve, I guess they call it, back there. So I've got the electronic boost on here. When I was setting that up, I was taking in third gear at 2,500 RPM and flooring it, because it would usually get to about 10 pounds of boost or so by 3,000. And it was not knocking or anything at that time. It was fine. And that's how I set up my boost control, just to get everything set up the way I wanted it to work. So I'm not sure what happened since then. Like I said, it might be, so I don't think it's my tuning, but long story short, I don't know what it was. I don't know, it might have been at one point last year, I accidentally got away from me and I hit 7,000 RPM on it, which I've shown you in one of my previous videos. It might have been something else, I don't know. But so the plan is we're gonna take off the stuff here until we get the intake manifold off. We're gonna test the injectors. I wanna take the cylinder heads off, all with it still in the car here. I'm gonna take that much stuff. Obviously the turbo's probably gonna have to come off even to get to that point. A bunch of other stuff's gonna have to get out of the way. So now obviously we gotta start with draining the coolant, and to do that, I gotta take off the aerodynamic stuff that I showed you in one of my last videos. So yeah, it's gonna be a job, but when you're doing these kind of things, that goes with the territory. I've got the coolant draining, just doing a slow drain on that one. I'm also gonna get the oil drained out here. You guys can see what I see when we drain this stuff here, and see how bad it looks. I'm gonna do this with by hand this away there. You can see that. I just want to make sure you can see this here. Oh, that's metallic-y looking. And that, if you can see, that is full of shavings. That's, yeah. What I didn't tell you before, when I did the oil change back in February, when I first did my first video on the Cavalier, that day later on, after I did the video, I did the oil change and there were shavings on it then. So I already knew back in February that there was a chance that this thing was going south. Unfortunately, I just was hoping it would make it, but you know what happens when you hope. So yeah, she's looking clear now, but that first little bit was very metallic-y looking. So I just took this off. I don't know if you can hear that. There's something metal sliding around in there. Let's open this throttle body up and see what we got. Try to do this so you can see it here. So, probably not going to be able to do it where you can see it. We'll have to right now, guys. Ah, that looks like piston ring pieces there. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully it shows up on there. I'll take a picture of it with my phone as well, but that looks like piston ring to me. I just had to show you this as well. So this is inside the front plenum. I'm sure if I can get it to focus on that. What the heck is that? It's full of oil inside there. And there's some chunks of something floating around in there. You hear it rattling when I took off the manifold, the upper manifold. So this is on the front driver's side, so this would feed cylinders going to go to the back. So it'd be 1, 3, and 5 on the back. So that tells me I'm going to say one of those cylinders in the back is completely toast. So we'll keep digging into this and we'll see what happens. Well, we got the intake manifold off, and I don't know if you can see that, but that cylinder there is full of oil, or that valve, intake valve, full of oil. And it's definitely not supposed to be that way. So obviously that cylinder there, that's going to be number 5. Number 3 looks reasonable. Number 1, focus in there. Number 1 looks normal. So after what I found with the oil, this is what cylinder number 5 looks like. There's kind of something missing. There's literally no piston left. I have never seen this in my life. That's literally, I just took the head off, and I've got coolant. I should have taken more coolant out of the block because I got coolant in those cylinders. But yeah, there is literally, the piston is just gone. So I'm guessing it's, let me see, is that chunks of it in the bottom there? Yeah, that is nuts. I've never seen that before. And here's the cylinder head. So that'd be number 1. Overall looks about like I expected. Not terrible. Number 3 looks the same. Number 5 has had that kicked out of it. The combustion chamber itself is all beat up. Yeah, I don't think we're saving that one. Well, I don't know if you can see it down there, but there's part of my piston. So I forget to focus on there. And that's my ARP rod bolts you can see from the top here. And yeah, not sure what happened, but yeah, we've got no piston in that hole. That's cylinder number 5. Number 3, number 1, looks still decent. Yeah, not sure what happened. So, well, we know what happened now. The piston disappeared, but we haven't figured out why yet. We're going to test those injectors next, but tonight, that is all we're doing. We will see what happens tomorrow. Well, we're back a few days later, and I'll be honest, this is the 3rd time trying this. We're trying to do the injector test. The first time, the test mode worked, but I was an idiot and I forgot to actually keep the fuel pump running. The second time, I tried to get the fuel pump running, and then it wouldn't run the injector test mode and the fuel pump at the same time, so I don't know if the battery was just too dead. So I put on a charger overnight. Hopefully it works this time. So we'll try it over here. We got the test mode up on the tuner studio here. So we're gonna do the test mode start just to make sure that works first. You can see it over here, you can see the count. So if I go click on start there, I can hear the injectors going. And there, that's done. So now we'll go over here and we will set up our fuel pump. And I've just got it on a wire here. We're gonna hook it up to positive. You hear the pump going. We are running about just over 40. And I'll set the thing up here to record it as it goes. Okay, let's see if it works this time. That is weird. It's counting it down on the screen, but not firing the injectors. What the heck? But yet, if I turn off the fuel pump and I try it on here, it fires the injectors. And I've got a little bit of fuel in all of them. I got fuel all over the place on that one. That's all over me. Well, I don't know why that is, because it was definitely getting fuel pressure, but it won't fire the injectors at the same time. I'm definitely getting fuel when I do it that way, and the injector test mode was working when the pump's not running. That's weird. Regardless, I'm down, of course, down to 0 PSI now after doing it fire a couple times. So what I can see though is the injectors are all working. From what I can see, they've got fuel in all of them. That's number 2. There's number 4. There's number 6. There's number 1. Number 3. And number 5, which sprayed out a little bit, but if anything, it looks like it might have more fuel than the other ones. So I might be getting a new set of injectors before this project is done, but I was concerned it might be a fuel issue, but that doesn't look to be the case from what I can see at this point. I will, I guess next step is we'll get everything taken off. We'll get this engine and transmission taken out. We'll see what the bottom end looks like. So we've got the turbo out. So this thing's been on for almost 2 years now. Spins free. Not too much movement up and down. You probably can't see it. But so if you see the blades there, they look good there. But I'm curious about the only thing damaged the turbine blades. I don't see anything. Don't see any damage. Don't see any problems so far. No excessive movement. No axial movement that I can feel. That's why I ended up getting this turbo in the first place, because my old turbo, which was a used T3, T4, T04B V trim, if I remember right, was had some excess axial play, and it was not working so good anymore. But yeah, this thing so far it's holding up well, considering it's for a $200 turbo. I'm kind of happy with that. So I've taken the exhaust housing off the turbo. I got that right here, and you can see it's a AR63. If you can see it, let me see, put it in front of the light here. So AR63 housing on that one. Oh, my flashlight decided to stop working. There it goes. But I just want to see the blades as well, make sure that they were, I don't see, it doesn't look like any major garbage has gone through. If you guys see anything different than me, let me know, because I don't see anything wrong with this one so far. But I am not a turbo expert by any means, so maybe I'm missing something. But I don't see any major damage or anything. All the blades look even. Still spins freely. Obviously, this thing that part there is loose because it's not bolted down right now. But yeah, I am happy with how this looks. We'll continue taking this thing out, and once we get the engine out, we'll see what the bottom end looks like. Well, we got the engine out of the Cavalier, and we found some interesting things. So first thing, we took the oil pan off, and first thing we saw was this. So all sorts of lovely shrapnel, we'll call it, in the bottom of the oil pan. So I'm kind of going sideways there for you. Just full of nonsense in there. And then we took the windage tray off, and we were able to get a couple of big chunks of piston ring out of there that was literally wedged between the windage tray and the crankshaft. Well, the other piece was actually wedged between the connecting rod and the bottom of the block, or the inside of the block, and that's what stopped it from turning in its tracks. If I didn't have this windage tray in, because the windage tray is not actually from this motor, it's from a 3100 engine, and if I didn't have the crank scraper, I probably would have been able to limp it home on 5 cylinders, because all this garbage would have just fallen to the bottom, and it was still kept running, I think, on 5 cylinders. But because I had that stuff in there, it just stopped it dead. Now, speaking of crank scraper, I don't know if you can see this. Right there, that is my crank scraper. It is supposed to be nice and flat like over here, and I've posted in previous videos, but when a piston comes out and starts flying around, that's what it does. So she's garbage now, unfortunately. See I should get a good shot of this here. You can see the scoring and stuff it did on that cylinder wall. Right there's a good shot. So the cylinder wall is all marked up just from the piston and from the connection rod flopping around there, but I don't know if you can see it how well there, but that crankshaft bearing surface there is damn near perfect. I took the bearings out of that connecting rod and they look great. I'll show you that in a minute here. So, but next plan is I'm going to take the rest of these pistons out and see what they look like. I'm sure they seem like they're fine. And also, this is my that Chloe's roller timing chain I was talking about before, and it is, yeah, she is tight and looks perfect. I'm very surprised there's no damage anywhere else really. Like I said, just literally that one cylinder, that piston let go, and yeah. So here's the connecting rod, and if you can see, yeah, stamp number 5 on both of those. I can't say 100% that it's straight, but it doesn't look too bad to me. It looks pretty good. I think it might be a slightly bent, but it's hard to say for sure. But you can see there, I don't know if you can hear it there. You can see that the side of that thing took a beating with the piston parts flopping around in there. So yeah, geez, this one's done, but there's still one bearing in there. The other one fell out somewhere, but I'll find it here. But I'll pull that out quickly, maybe. Don't worry about them. But get a shop towel here and clean that up 1 second. So there's that half of the bearing, anyways. The other half is floating around here somewhere. It fell out when we dropped it, but I did take a look at it, and it looked just as good. I cannot see anything wrong with this bearing. It is, as far as I can see, damn near perfect. See if I can get a better focus on there. Considering the abuse and the RPM that this thing's taken, it's worked great. Like I said, the crankshaft itself looks awesome. There was no play that I could see in that bearing before I took it apart. Yeah, it's just disappointing that that piston let go, because this engine was in really good shape on the bottom end by what I can see so far. Oh, got all the pistons out. I took the lifters and the cam out as well, and my the roller chain. Obviously the gear, the crank gear is still on the crank, so I gotta take that off yet. But just to see what other kind of damage there is, everything looks really good from what I can see. I don't see any other problems. Even the bearings and all these things. I don't know if you can see that. That's number 1, and from what I can see, it's probably got about the worst wear. 1. That's number 2. It's got some marks on there, so maybe that one has a little more wear. Didn't see that before. That could have been for me trying to get it out too. Some of these were fighting me a little bit. Number 3. Number 4 was giving me a hard time coming out as well, and it looks like it's got a little more wear. But number 5. Sorry, that's number 6. Number 5 is the one that broke. I was going to bring that one out here. I forgot, but as I said, the timing chain looks perfect, nice and tight. The cam, this is the cam I ran like 20 years ago, and it is still looking really good from what I can see. I don't see any noticeable lobe wear. I'm going to try to measure it yet, but yeah, it's disappointing. So maybe I'll be selling that Chloe's roller, the crane cam. If anybody's interested, let me know. I don't think I'm going to have a use for it, because I think I'm going to go with the 3400 engine and do a kind of budget build on it. I just can't afford to do a big forged build on it right now. But I'll go show you what the crankshaft looks like as well here, and then we'll wrap this video up. I wanted to mention at this point that when I got these pistons initially many years ago, I noticed one of them had looks like a casting flaw in it, and I took a picture of it. Unfortunately back then I had a really crappy camera, so but you can see it in these pictures where it looks like it was machined incorrectly in one spot. This looks to be the piston that is missing now from my set of pistons. So very possible that this piston was just a flawed piston that eventually just let go, is the only other possible kind of scenario that I can figure out at this time. But again, let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm missing something here. So there's cylinder number 1. Hope you can see that okay, but don't see any. Cylinder number 3. We'll have to see if I can spin this around. Oh, you can kind of see it. Again, don't see any major scoring there. Even cylinder number 5. This is where we had all the problems. Even on that one, I don't see anything. I haven't taken the crank out yet, obviously, but yeah, let's see. Overall, the bottom end still looks really good. It's unfortunate, but this because of that scoring, it's not really worth redoing this block, unfortunately, at this point. So, until we get another motor to stick in this thing, we will talk to you guys later. Let me know what you think, and I'll let you know what comes down the pipe. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.